Our latest topic for our Whose Shoes collaboration with Midlands Partnership Foundation Trust is care experienced children and young people. What a learning curve it has been to crowdsource the new material, getting a glimpse of what it's like to be a child in the care system and problems that families have to navigate. We have been so grateful to all the contributors, those who've attended our project meetings, those who've contributed to our crowdsourced Padlet, Amy Duddy and the Voice Project at Staffordshire County Council, building on a fabulous collaboration that began at one of our earlier workshops, bringing in the voices of children and young people. Yvonne Newbold and the strong group of parents and carers that she represents, and adults who've experienced the care system themselves, not least Stephen Russell, whom I was delighted to record a podcast with. Real viewpoints from real people. So the big day arrived when we all came together in Stafford. We were joined by different people from all these different roles and more.
So we're just talking about that. So what do we think? What are our experiences? So I'll go from a health assessment point of view. So
we were quickly into some very real issues. What do we do when our professional duty conflicts with the wishes of children and young people? How can we build trust when staff keep changing? Some children came to the front and gave their key messages personally to Carrie, our visual artist. Listen to me. Don't force me to do something I'm not ready for. Ask me. It's always good to see some light-hearted moments, serious topics being discussed, but people coming together as equals and enjoying the honest conversations.
I was at certain house because I'm more, so I was at
and I said, people need to just remember that just because he's in care, just because I'm in care, don't mean what.
And a chance to catch up with Lise Edwards, Head of Operations for Children and Families, who has made all this happen. And I love the extra loving care that this team put into preparing for events and making everyone feel welcome, not least the Whose Shoes coloured themes everywhere. It was great to see that the new material seemed to be landing right, and actually hear people saying so.
That is absolutely spot on to the things that we've discussed again and again.
So much rich material. Carrie working super hard to record it all and prepare to feed back the key themes after lunch. Some of the children and young people had chosen to communicate their key messages in pictures rather than in words. We will make sure that these are fully included in the final visual record. And we were delighted to be joined by Bernie Brown, the brand new Director of Children's Services for Staffordshire County Council, who had made a last-minute change to her diary due to a conversation on LinkedIn. It is all about networking.
That's quite interesting. So there's some really hard-hitting comments that have come out. Therefore, we need to think about the training. Some people were saying it needed to be targeted, so I've popped it in there. So targeted training for all. And it's around things like how to deal with trauma, how to deal with people's mental health, the system, how do you navigate that system, how to de-escalate crisis situations, more training for foster carers, and I think it popped up for a lot of other areas as well, but this idea of understanding somebody's experience, their life story, how do you listen to that, how do you write that down, How do you acknowledge the learning that's been taken from that experience? We come round and we start to think about this idea of being person-centred. And this kind of, I put it down here with these last little bits because it's the stuff, if you do this sort of stuff, all of that kind of starts to slot into place. Have an honest conversation. Listen and hear the young person and their wishes. Give young people the courage to use their voice and have control over their lives. So doing things with them, not to them and for them. A lot of professional meetings in children's and young persons are all done in a room, without even the people being there. I even read one post-it note that says decisions were made about me and they didn't even know who I was. They never even met me. That's interesting. So the person's here at the centre, deal with, not for. When designing behaviour strategies, work with the young person to find out solutions that work for them. Do it together, be innovative. Think about those resources. Yes, there are challenges that come into play. Don't just say no, find another way. There's always another way around something. If anyone's into maths, there's always 2 ways to solve a problem. Sometimes there might be 3 or 4. So there are different routes. Learn from others' experiences and understand the skills needed to jump through the hoops. I like that one. Learn how to jump through the hoops. Positive role models. Teachers and professionals to demonstrate positive behaviour. Listen to the story and learn about that young person. I'll put this one up here, no more bin bags. So we've got no more bin bags and we've got some holdalls coming into play. So again, if you just look at the words, and I'll just go over them just quickly before I finish off with the words of the young people. So we're going to think about that language that's used. It's simple, it's clarity, it's transparent, it's honest. The data is equitable. There's good communication and information. The services have quality, relationships are knowledgeable. There are good opportunities for signposting, networks and partnerships that are inclusive and consistent. There is supportive training that empowers and encourages people to fight those challenges. And if we're using our resources correctly, we can truly be person-centred. And if you're listening, make sure you hear that young person's voice. Don't force them to do something they're not ready for. Ask them. Is that about it?
Throughout the whole day, people had been encouraged to think about pledges. What could they do to make a difference? The discussions and Carrie's excellent summary had clearly inspired them. It was heartening to see how people jumped in with their ideas.
I would. Alan can, big man on here,
Right, so Alan, how can you help them?
I can help them. I was talking about a not-for-profit organisation. I can help them try and organise a not-for-profit organisation which gives them total independence then.
Whoa. Alan's the guy. So you've obviously had some great relationship building going on this table. And unusually for Who She Is workshop, I think already we can light the 11 light bulbs. Wow. Yeah? Because the 11 light bulbs only come on when ideas start to spark across the room. But to be fair, I'm going to turn them off again because that was only like within one table. That's like not that
Basically,
big.
we're too good for this.
So is there anybody on a different table who can help them with this thing?
Okay. Well, I'm just thinking as I'm named to those that looked after children, and health assessments for children in care. So if you want to listen to other voices, and you know, we have a team of nurses that you could link in with.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Right, go on,
Any chance on a team of nurses?
What do you need? The number?
So I am only 3 weeks in. This is the start of my 3rd week. But obviously I am apparently in charge of children and family services. And I would like to help you in any way that I can. So if you want to come and have a chat, I'm more than happy to have a chat with you guys.
The more people we speak to, the better.
And see what you think you might want, what we can support you with, and then link you in to some staff in the wider system, as well as foster carers and other people.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Could I add to this, because I don't think it's been mentioned, it's a nice, lovely link between Staffordshire and Stoke-on-Trent, because these young people come from Stoke-on-Trent, so it's a lovely link to bring it to
Well, I'm also, interestingly, I'm being introduced to your Director of Children's Services, and let's have a conversation.
Yeah, it'd be really good.
We've got Staffordshire, we've got Stoke-on-Trent, we've got parenting boards, we've got young people, we've got everybody linking up together within the first minutes really of our pledges session. So, wow. So have you got a favourite colour?
I would like a yellow, I think the colour's yellow.
Your favourite colour is yellow?
Sounds like Santa's
Says mine.
face.
Yeah. Says mine. This is my Just Do It badge, okay? Because I think Becky had pretty much the biggest pledge. Did you hear that? The whole
Thing. I think it's a terrific idea that you get foster carers, social workers and other team members around the table playing this game, because we'll see each other's perspectives of a case then, rather than working in our own little tunnel.
So you can have a We Collaborate badge, okay?
I'll collaborate. Anybody knows me for that, don't they? Robust chair. Thank you. I mean, where that was on.
Have a pay on me. Because you said that you come and talk to Carrie and tell her about your fantastic drawings, and you did. I love these Chinese stuff.
I'm the only Staffordshire County Councillor that's come here today.
Well, thank you for coming. Yeah.
My pleasure. I wouldn't have missed this experience for anything. So my pledge is to spread the word to all 62 county councillors in Staffordshire. Of my unique experience of today's meeting, it's been a privilege to share the knowledge with foster carers, but most of all, these three amazing young people who are sitting here, who are looked after children, as we call them. The impression they've left on our table will stay forever. Their honesty, fun, and the way they've put their story over to us is incredible. These three young people need to meet with Staffordshire County councillors to tell it how it really is. So I cannot tell you enough, you three. You've been hilarious, but your honesty has been... I've been quite choked, and I'm sure we all have. I don't agree with you about Stoke, by the way. Thank you.
Wow. So thank you for that, and that's a really powerful voice. Whose shoes is, we've got this hashtag, no hierarchy, just people. And you look down the room, I said before, we don't have lanyards. We encourage people really to introduce themselves around the table at the beginning, because that makes a difference between people. But hopefully by staying in the same groups, and as has obviously happened, you find out that you've got a counsellor, you find out that you've got care experienced people, you find out you've got a foster parent. But you don't need to define yourself like that. That emerges through conversations. I think that's much more natural. So, anybody else? I'm very moved by that. Thank you.
Temporarily made it the Who Shoes Road Show, so it's the idea of taking the game out on the road, and it's going to be opening up in September for schools in the local areas to sign up, and our participation team will bring the game to the schools, and we've done some lesson plans for Key Stage 2, Key Stage 3 and Key Stage 4 that are all in line with the new PSHE and RSE curriculum, so we're hoping that the schools will see it as a nice easy way to tick off some of those new objectives that might be a bit difficult to incorporate in at this point, and that we can try and get as many young people's voices heard. As we know, sometimes coming to an environment like this can actually be a bit intimidating for the younger people, and definitely if we're talking about younger children. So it's about sort of taking it to their environment and their end of the world, so that they feel comfortable enough to really share their ideas and to enlighten us on their opinions as well. So fingers crossed, we should hopefully be opening that up in September. So if anyone is linked to a school, please let them know, and we'd love to come in and share the game with them and see what we can get out of it. So thank you.
Is that to do with the children or staff? Andrea and I were talking about she's got foster carers that she'd like to do this with. I've got staff in schools that I think would really benefit from conversations like this. Can you just
If you're willing to leave it with me, I can always put together a sort of like a staff version as well, kind of thing. So it would be probably slightly less a lesson plan for them, as we don't want to talk down at the teachers. But we'd definitely be able to put together a kind of staff training session that could be done perhaps in a staff meeting or in a lunch and learn session, or even while the children are playing the game, we could be running a session for the staff at the same time. So leave that with me. I'll make a note and we'll definitely incorporate that in. That's a brilliant idea. Thank you so much.
Wow. This is exciting, yeah.
And so the MPFT Whose Shoes Ripples continue. Join us as we move on to our next module, Special Educational Needs and Neurodiversity. How can we make a difference for children and families?